What's up, everybody, and welcome to another edition of Just for Sport. I'm Jumoke here with you. Was traveling for a bit, so delayed in getting my pod recorded, but also gave me more fuel for fodder. I'm just doing this just for sport, just for sport. We're going to talk about the NCAA men's tournament, look back a little bit, NCAA women's tournament as well, some NBA, Lakers. For the first time, Luka returns to Dallas, 45 points. We'll talk about his return and, again, revisiting why. Why the trade? Major League Baseball went to the Nats-Dodgers game. Some reaction to that. And finally, a player gets a deserving contract, but not quite a $700 million man. And we'll talk about the Masters and my gut check pick to win it all. And finally, the last thing we're going to talk about is I got a Minecraft review. A Minecraft review for you. Anyone who cares to know my thoughts on it, especially for any parents out there wondering, can I make it through this movie? But we're going to start with the NCAA tournament. And I made it through the tournament. I didn't win it all. Mostly because in every bracket, I picked Duke. And that, in many ways, was from the heart. I'm not a fan of Duke, but I am a fan of the ACC. And I want the Wizards to get Cooper Flag. And speaking of, I want the Mystics to get Paige Beckers. I don't know if that will happen for both of them. Probably, especially not Paige Beckers, since Dallas has the number one pick in the WNBA draft. But I know it seems like long ago in the cycle of sports news that Florida Gators were crowned NCAA men's champions. And I enjoyed, this was probably the first time in a long time that I thought all of the semifinals and finals games were really good. The way that Florida fought back to beat Auburn, the way that Houston fought back to beat Duke, I think Duke definitely didn't play their best ball down the stretch. I'm not even going to say choked. They were up 6 with 33 seconds to go. And as much as I didn't fully have a dog in the fight, so I didn't get, my normal level of being upset. But the refs, unfortunately, messed up the game, in my mind. They destroyed the game. In the semifinals, Duke should have won that game because I don't think that was over the back. Well, let me not say should have won the game. Well, they should have, but it's more that the foul call on Cooper Flag for over the back was not over the back. And once again, referees find a way to make themselves part of the storyline when they shouldn't. I wish there was more instant replay. I was talking to my brothers about that at the Nats-Dodgers game. Refs cannot afford to be the deciding factor in a game that's worth millions, if not billions, to the players, the teams, the conferences, the leagues. I just don't think we can have that. We don't need that kind of human error. And I think it's okay if refs have more reviews. And I think realistically you would too. I mean, obviously in this case, certainly if you were a Duke fan, you would feel that way. But in general, a ref should not be the storyline. And I thought in that Duke game, they were the storyline. Duke was up 1. They missed a 1-and-1. Cooper Flag was trying to bounce the ball around to keep it alive, to hopefully get an offensive rebound. They called over the back. Houston goes down the other end of the court. They hit a couple of free throws, go up by 1, and they win the game 70-67. And I think it put a bad taste in my mouth for, okay, here we go. Another tournament where it was a controversial call when it didn't need to be. Let them play ball. He didn't go over the back. He went to the side and tipped it. It wasn't even over the back. It's just a bad call. But I digress. Houston went on, played Florida. And I am just amazed at the level of they don't the Gators don't panic. They are not worried about what's going to happen in the game. At least it doesn't seem like it to me. That they just keep playing and playing. Michael Clayton Jr. didn't have a basket until what? I think it's like 6 minutes left in the second half, 4 minutes to go in the game, something like that, where he got the AM1 and kind of got the team going. Might not have been that late in the game. But you could sense that Florida was going to have a comeback. And I really love that Florida won the game, not because I was rooting for them at all, from the aspect of I wanted the ACC to get it. The SEC is just a stronger conference, but also as a tribute to a mentor of mine that I learned just before the semifinal game had passed away suddenly. Shout out to Gary Waddell. He was really instrumental in helping to have direction in my life and understanding what I should be doing with my life. He was in some ways like a second dad to me, and he played at Florida. And it was sad to find out from Mrs. Waddell that Gary had passed. But, I was happy for him. I was happy for Florida. And I know he would have been just overjoyed that Florida won the national championship. I used to I would take like a Sports Illustrated cover and I would cut out I think I cut out a Florida Gator player or a Kentucky player, and I put his head on it for sport. I mean, I just did all kinds of funny stuff with him. We would always love sports and talk about sports. And it's sad that he's no longer with us, and my condolences to the Waddell family. And I know that he is overjoyed that Florida won the national championship. So I just wanted to put that out there. And they played very well. They've got a resilient team. And Michael Clayton Jr., I was trying to think of what type of player I think he is. He's definitely got to quote Steve Buckhand's famous line, dagger. I mean, he hit some big shots in the tournament, and it's going to be interesting to see what he becomes at the next level. I couldn't quite think of, the first player came to my mind is Jamal Murray. As the type of NBA player he will be when he gets to that next level, but I don't know if he'll be a superstar. Maybe. I mean, he certainly put the Gators on his back. He certainly put them on his back, and they won it all. UConn also won it all on the women's side. But the sadness is to find out that the ratings were down. Just around 60% down. And yet, for most of the tournament, you had Juju Watson and Paige Beckers and South Carolina. I should say you had USC with Juju. You had UConn with AZ Fudd, who was most outstanding player. Paige Beckers, who's going to be the number one pick in the WNBA draft. You had South Carolina. You had UCLA. You had really good quality teams, and you couldn't watch. Please don't tell me you were only watching the NCAA tournament last year because of Caitlin Clark. I hope not, but that's what I'm starting to believe and think. That people were just in love with Caitlin Clark. What she stood for as a player, how dynamic she was of a player. The fact that she was from Iowa, which maybe was like a little engine that could, not a powerhouse school, if you will. And everybody loves a good Cinderella, even though she may not like the label of Cinderella. But I'm trying to wrap my head around what could possibly be the reason why now people don't care about women's basketball anymore. I'm curious if the WNBA is going to even get ratings. That Caitlin Clark was a fad. Women's basketball was a fad. And you've already proven that it might have been because you didn't watch the women's NCAA tournament. I thoroughly enjoyed it. But I will say the mistake was, especially with the final, you put it in the middle of the day on a weekend? A Sunday? That should have been prime time. It needed to be prime time for people to be able to sit down in front of the television and watch. You put it in the middle of the afternoon where people are out running errands, maybe they're shopping, at kids' sporting events, etc., etc. That just goes over your head. You're busy on the weekend. So there might have been some other factors there, but that was definitely disappointing. Definitely disappointing. Maybe it'll be the same for WNBA. Maybe the ratings will be up. Maybe. I doubt it. NBA. We're getting closer and closer and closer to the playoffs. And that makes me very happy. There's nothing like... Well, you know what? I do love the NFL that it's one and done. I love the NCAA tournament that it's one and done. But there's something about best of 7 series that I feel like you really get the true champions then. You know, you think of the NCAA tournament, McNeese State made a run, right? They got one upset. Texas Tech was playing very well. They almost beat Florida. They were making a run. When you only have one game, it's like, yeah, to an extent, anybody can win it within reason. I know, obviously, like the 15s and 16 seeds aren't going to win the NCAA tournament, but you can win a game. And we've seen that year after year. NFL, you can win a game. You make a run, you win it all. I mean, man, as much as it's tough to talk about, I'd expect the Eagles to beat the Washington football team as handily as they did after the way Washington took care of Detroit. But I'm sure in Detroit, they were like, there's no way that we're going to lose to Washington. And they showed out. They played their one good game. One great game, really. So I like best of 7 series is. And they do that, obviously, in baseball, basketball, and hockey. And it's going to be fun. It's going to be fun. And the thing for me that is most shocking right now, I'm not going to talk about seeding again. It is what it is. There's still a little jockeying to be done, and you can follow that, and it'll be interesting to see. There's a game and a half separating the Hawks, Bulls, and Heat. That's pretty much all that's left in the East. And in the West, they're all tied up. Clippers, Nuggets, and Warriors, 47-32. And the Grizzlies, 47-32. And the Timberwolves are a game behind them. Everything else is Kings and Mavs. Mavs are probably going to be stuck at the 10th seed, and the Phoenix Suns are out. They've lost 7 in a row, 3-7 in their last 10. Beal, KD, or Booker, something's going to happen this offseason. And Budenholzer's done as a coach. There's no doubt in my mind about that. So there's still some jockeying there in between the 4th seed and the 8th seed. We'll see what happens. It's going to be fun down the stretch. About 7 games left. But what I want to talk about is the Denver Nuggets. First, because I'm still going to talk about Lakers and Mavs, the return of Luka. Everybody's had their opinion about the firing of Mike Malone. I didn't get it so close to the playoffs, especially if it's not like there's a brand new voice in the locker room. There's an assistant coach. That's all that it is. So in some ways, I feel like it is kind of more of the same. And I also thought it was very disrespectful to, I don't want to hear all of the PR stuff. Oh, we really love what he did for us in Denver. He's a great coach, a great man, blah, blah, blah. Then why'd you do him like that? Because it shows a lack of class in my mind. You let him finish out the season. You don't succumb to what may have been players saying, well, get rid of him. There was talk of tension between Malone and Booth, the GM, Calvin Booth, former Washington Wizard. Calvin Booth won't be back as a GM. I just don't understand how you can try to say, oh, we love him, we appreciate him, and you can't even let the man finish out the season. At least give him that. What? Because they lost to Minnesota in the last second? Minnesota lost to Milwaukee a couple of nights later in a heartbreaking loss. We going to fire the Minnesota Timberwolves coach too? I know that they talked about they lost 4 in a row. They were 11-13 since the All-Star break. 3-7 in their last 10. Yeah, it wasn't looking good. It wasn't. But you also didn't have a Jamal Murray who was 100%. The team that won the championship, the core players, some of the vets on that team were not re-signed, including KCP. That can affect you. And yeah, it's a business, but there's a way you can handle your business. And I don't think they handled it well. Also, don't think that if it is the case, players should be given as much power as they have. Yes, you're within your right to listen to them, but I felt like this was very much a knee-jerk reaction. And if it was Nikola Jokic who was like, oh, I want him out too, I also remember Nikola Jokic is a bit of a hothead. Remember what was that? 2022 playoffs, 2023 playoffs, or maybe it was 21 and 22, where he got into these big fights in the final loss of the season. I don't know. I don't know all the ins and outs of it. I'm going to read more about it, just like we're still reading more about the fallout from the Luka trade and why. But I also think what we are setting up with these owners, you're never, ever, I think it's the end of the era where you will have what I would consider to be great coaches. Like Red Auerbach, Pat Riley type coaches. You're not going to get a Phil Jackson. I hope Popovich comes back. You've got Steve Kerr. You've got Eric Spoelstra. They will never, ever, coaches, be in a situation where they can have the kind of latitude and ability to coach with one team the way these guys. Kerr, whichever one retires or, just unfortunately, to get fired. But Spoelstra and Kerr, in my mind, are probably the last of a dying breed. Coaches, or maybe, you think about Denver just won the championship 2 years ago and already they're getting rid of their coach. Come on. Where are we going with this? It's just simply not a good situation. Not at all. And I'm really saddened by it. I'm really saddened by that. And maybe some owner out there will be different. But I doubt it. Too restless. And too maybe focused on analytics. Maybe that's it too. Maybe. Lakers were at the Dallas Mavericks. It was a return of Luka Doncic. He had to hold back tears watching his tribute video. And then he thumped Dallas on the head with 45 points and a loss. Dallas is just on the outs of the play-in tournament as a 10th seed. I don't see Phoenix catching them. but they're just right there. I think if they had Kyrie and Anthony Davis, I think they'd be a much better team. Shoot, they may be the 6th or 5th seed, maybe, but not anymore. I'm starting to come around. I think I said this before, that maybe we're going to find out someday Nico never wanted to trade Luka and that it was the owners. Maybe. But the fact that Luka had that much emotion on his face, it probably will never heal the hurt of being traded like that. Someone feeling, a team that drafted you saying like, yeah, we don't want you anymore. Like, that's gotta hurt. And I'm glad the Lakers got the win. Realistically, for the NBA, I think the NBA would love to see Lakers Warriors in the NBA Finals. Second best to that is probably Lakers Celtics. So when you think of OKC possibly being in the NBA Finals and the Cleveland Cavaliers, as much as I would like to see some smaller market teams being in the NBA Finals, I'm sure the NBA is hoping for another kind of result. Maybe a Golden State, Boston, or New York. Always wanting that big market team. And that's got that East Coast, West Coast rivalry too. But we shall see. We're never going to get another great coach in my mind. Hockey. I'm excited next week. I'm going to see Caps and Pens. I hope Ovi will play. I hope Crosby will play. That's going to be appointment viewing. And I bought tickets a long, long time ago. What I wanted to see that I forgot to look up is just double checking, as much as I'm bummed out about it, that the Penguins are eliminated from playoff contention. So there's no chance they're going to be fighting for anything at the end of the season. The only thing I can hope for, they're not going to rest Ovi and Sidney because they want them to at least play for a little bit on the ice in the same season where they both broke Gretzky, the Great One's records. That we get to see them one last time. Well, look, they're not retiring, but one last time this season. The pressure is on the Caps in my mind. Still, but not the same way. Ovi goes to the New York Islanders. I'm happy that at least he tied Gretzky at home. I would have liked for him to get the record at home. I don't know if you know this stat, but Ovi's records, his, record-setting goals have all been on the road. When the Caps won the Stanley Cup, it was in Las Vegas. The home team has never been able to celebrate Ovi the same way. So New York fans who didn't really care the same way, and certainly not whoever is running their social media, when Ovi scored, and it was just like Islanders leading 2-1. Like, what? I know you were trying to be funny, but that, and maybe you weren't, but that's not a cool way to put a tweet out when Ovi just became the greatest goal scorer of all time. He's not the greatest player of all time. Gretzky is still the great one and will always be. I don't see Connor McDavid or anybody in the future being able to break Gretzky's overall record, which, by the way, if he didn't have any goals and just had assists, he still would have more points than anyone else in the NHL, including Ovi. Is that 1,400 plus assists? It's crazy. But Ovi scoring from his normal position in the slap shot, sliding on his belly on the ice, that was pure joy and excitement and relief in knowing you've accomplished something that there's a chance no one will ever, ever, ever break your record. And I hope he gets 900 this season, which is another reason why I hope by next Thursday he's still playing and trying to get that 900 and not going to try to move it until next season. But I'm happy for him. I'm happy for the Caps. But there's still pressure because, the Caps got to win the Stanley Cup. Why do they need to win it? Well, they've got 107 points. Second best team in the NHL behind the Winnipeg Jets. And they can catch the Winnipeg Jets. The Jets have 110 points. But also when you think about the careers, as I talked in the last pod about Ovi and Crosby, Ovi needs to win that second one to kind of put him up there a little bit more with Crosby, just as far as championships. That's it. I think the mutual respect for each other, they know the type of players that they have in each other. In the fact that they can look back and know that they were really competing against each other. And they brought out the best in each other. But that was just, I mean, to come back from a broken leg and still play the way he did, that was awesome to see. And I'm very happy for the Caps for that. I'm very happy as well. I got to see Nats Dodgers. And the Nats won. What was the final score? 8-2, I think. It was cold. It was windy. Not a lot of fans out. And I'm sure most of it was the weather. But it's always good when you get to see a baseball game. James Woods got 2 home runs. If he can keep this up, maybe we do have that next superstar. And it's a long, long road ahead. I don't want to get ahead of myself. But between the Nats getting their TV money all to themselves starting next season, maybe they'll sign a couple of free agents to mix with their young team. Because I tell you what, outside of James Wood and Dylan Cruz, I was like, who the heck are the players in this starting lineup? I knew some of the names, a little bit, but it was still like, we don't have any stars, if you will. No one, and I don't mean like stars like when Bryce Harper was here. Well, I guess Bryce Harper was a star coming in, but more just like the excitement isn't there. Like, ooh, I want to see this player. There isn't that player on the Nats right now. We're just homegrown fans wanting the talent to flourish. As far as I feel like that's what's going on. And that means that there needs to be more invested in the team. They made almost a $200 million profit last year based on the payroll under $150 million. Really, under $140 million, according to some records. Let's invest back in the team with some of that. And maybe now that you have your TV deal, you'll be able to do that more. Learners, please don't sell. Just don't sell. Don't sell. I'm also happy Vladimir Guerrero Jr. got his money and it wasn't exorbitant. $500 million is a lot of money. I know it seems crazy to even talk like that. But there's no way Soto, I'm not going to go into Soto again. I'm not going to go down that road again. You know how I feel about it. But I felt like Vlad's contract at $500 million was adequate for a player of his caliber. It's about what I expected it to be. So I hope he's happy. Wish the best for him. Wish the best for... Can't believe the Blue Jays are in first place. I mean, that's... Whew. I would say it's a little upside down right now with the Blue Jays in first place. Detroit Tigers, I said that. Texas Rangers, I had that. Atlanta Braves 2-9. Didn't have that one. Phillies are on top of the NL East. I could have went Phillies. Cubs are on top of the Central. Padres are on top of the West with the Dodgers only a half a game behind them. So Dodgers are still close. But man, it's way too early that I know my predictions are my predictions, and we'll see what happens. But if this holds true where these teams are, the Orioles in last place, I never saw that coming. And same for the Braves. I just can't imagine that that's going to hold true. But it might. It just might. What I hope does come true, as we got the Masters coming up, is I'm just going to come right out and say it. My gut check pick is Rory McIlroy. Am I following soccer? Am I following golf? Not really. In the way that I'm going to give you all of the insight as to why. I did read up a little bit about it, and apparently he's been playing well of late. But everybody in the golf community has to have a soft spot for Rory. I even think about what he's been through when all of the live golf stuff happened, and he's trying to hold the PGA Tour players together as a group. You know, he has not won the Masters. I think there are a good number of fans out there that would be very happy to see him win it. And if he's playing well, then, you know, that I'm going with that too. That's my gut check pick, that Rory McIlroy will be able to put on the green jacket. Now, my dream to put on a green jacket of my own is to get out there and they'll let me do a little fling golf. You think they do that at Augusta National? No. But I'm going to start playing some more fling golf when it warms up. I'm going to find my courses out there. And I got some other fling golf content I'm going to talk to you about as well. The last thing I'm going to do in this episode is talk about Minecraft. Minecraft, the movie came out. We took a bunch of kids with us, a couple families, to go see it. Now, I don't know much about Minecraft. I have toyed many times about making a video with me describing Minecraft and letting my sons discover it on YouTube and be like, Dad, what are you talking about? But I'm not going to give away any spoilers. Not going to do that. I will say it was very well done. All I really knew was Mikey and JJ, and I was way off in thinking that were the first characters that they were going to talk about. But I think that they did a really good job of explaining Minecraft right up front. And I think that was important for them being able to bring in somebody like me, a dad who's like, oh, I'm taking my kids to the movies. And what is this Minecraft about? And I thought they did a really good job of that. I also think they did a really good job of transitioning from the real world to the Minecraft world. You know, I thought it was going to be just something where they just wanted to have Minecraft people, but make them real. And they didn't. And it reminded me of a mixture between Napoleon Dynamite and Super Mario World. Or the movie, Super Mario Brothers movie. That it had that evil world versus Minecraft world that they were battling. I also thought some of the jokes, Jason Momoa reminded me a little bit of a Napoleon Dynamite type character. And maybe that's what they were going for. But I thought that Jack Black was great. Now, I don't know if there's a song in there that I don't think it will catch on the way Peaches did. And it's not the only song. And I don't think I'm giving away anything, but I'm curious what you think if you watch it. And you got to go see it this weekend, right? I figured if I didn't do the review immediately on Monday, doing the review right here on a Thursday, going into a Friday the next weekend, it's going to be the next time you maybe get to take your kids to see it, or maybe you're a Minecraft fan and now you'll have a chance to see it. So I thought it was timely to do it now. But there were some other nuggets that I would love to share with you, but I feel like it's probably going to be spoilers. But there were times where like the whole theater was just laughing or clapping. And I was like, what's going on? And I didn't quite understand it, but I could appreciate the joy that the true Minecraft fans, including our sons and their friends, had for the movie. I thought it had a little bit of an element of science to it, so I like that as well. And I think that some of the things that happen in the movie, I could see them making a game out of it. Or as I mentioned, a song trending. But I don't want to give it away. But I did enjoy it. It obviously did well in the box office. What, over 300, highest grossing video game turned movie ever. Did over 300 million in the first weekend. And I think it was worth the money. It was a really good movie. I wouldn't be surprised if they're going to do a second Minecraft movie. I could see that, because especially how well this one did, and it probably won't come out till like 2029 or something like that. But that's going to do it for Just for Sport. Enjoy your sports weekend, whether you're watching NBA or the Masters or Major League Baseball. It's I'm going to go watch some baseball. Our youngest had 3 hits tonight. Well, I guess 2, but I thought one of them, it was a controversial call. I think he got on first base, but it was exciting. But I'm going to end this on the Minecraft note and say, instead of my normal ciao for now, I'm going to say buenos dias. And if you watch the movie, you'll know why I said that. That'll do it for Just for Sport. I'm Jumoke. I guess I got to say ciao for now. I can't help but not say ciao for now.